How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Weather Sponge. Today is April 18th, 2021, and today we're going to focus on the major United States snowstorm that's expected to happen this week. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather records. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to share with friends and family, and turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather records. So let's begin by taking a look at the current Arctic oscillation pattern right now and taking a look at this line graph. You see that there are portions where the line is in the negative phase and there are portions where this line is in the positive phase. Now, if you don't know, pretty much to make long story short, a negative Arctic oscillation means that colder temperatures are more likely to happen throughout the United States, and we're far more likely to see major jet stream dips and polar vortexes occur and more snow as a result. While during a positive Arctic oscillation, we're more likely to see much warmer than average temperatures throughout the United States and less jet stream dips, thanks to the strength of the westerly winds diverting that cold air more further eastward. And you see, as of right now, we're in a slightly positive phase, but you see the forecast has been trending towards a negative phase eventually later in the later weeks. And this is very important to point out because an Arctic oscillation could really give a good idea of what is to come when it comes to the type of temperatures and weather conditions you could expect for much of the United States, especially the eastern half of the United States. And this will pretty much lead to my winter storm forecast, where because since we're heading into a negative Arctic oscillation, that does increase the chance of more jet stream dips in the future and potentially more winter storms. And that's exactly the case right now, where we're forecasted to receive a major snowstorm throughout the United States. So let's first begin by taking a look at the computer models at this point. We're about taking a look at the Futurecast Radar to show you guys how that negative Arctic oscillation will eventually get into effect and really bring the jet stream dips further southward into the United States to create a winter storm. So taking a look at that, you see that for most of the United States right now, it's pretty quiet. Taking a look at the current infrared satellite loop, you see that most of thunder shower activity is towards the southeast. However, it's very weak. There isn't a ton of unstable air to create a lot of lift to induce any sort of severe weather. So as a result, do not expect any major impacts associated with these rain showers throughout the southeast, as the main focus will be with this next trough that's going to move further southward, and there's going to be an area of unstable air to induce a major snowstorm throughout the United States. So as you can see, mostly quiet for the United States, but that will quickly change once that trough moves further southward. And you see right around the 24-hour mark, we begin to see the first snow showers extend through Montana and extending to North Dakota and South Dakota as well. And when we see snow this far south in the United States, it pretty much means that there's a lot of cold air behind it, because we're entering late April at this point. So the chances of snow for a lot of United States, I wouldn't say is rare, but it's now far less common. So when we see snow move further southward into the United States, it really means that there's a lot of cold air behind this trough, and that could really induce a lot of an area of unstable air in the northeast to create a winter storm. So if we move forward, you see that snow moves further southward, and you see that this snow swath is pretty large, where it extends all throughout Montana, and we do see some heavier snow squalls in Montana as well. So watch out for that, especially if you're in the higher elevations or right around Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming, where you could receive snowfall rates at nearly half an inch per hour, or maybe even more than that in some cases. And you see that snow eventually moves further southward. And what's also interesting is that low pressure forms far to the east, I'd say the northeast of this snow swath. And that's very important, because if this low pressure system is strong enough, that means that we're going to see a bigger jet stream dip, because this low pressure will induce stronger northerly wind component that would bring down those jet stream winds to steer this snow swath further southward and potentially create a more unstable environment throughout the United States and a bigger snowstorm as a result. So we're definitely going to need to pay attention to this low pressure system over the next couple of days to determine how far that jet stream dip will dip and when, because that will be huge in determining the trajectory and the strength of the storm. But moving forward, you see the snow extends throughout the Rocky Mountains. There's going to be a large area of, I'd say, over 6 inches of snow, especially in the extreme higher elevations. But I'd say for lower elevations, mainly expect 3 to 6 inches, which is still considered major in some cases. So do not underestimate 3 to 6 inches of snow throughout the Rocky Mountain ranges, just because it isn't as much as 6 to 12 inches. But moving forward, you see that there's a lot the snow eventually extends to the Midwest, where Missouri is now involved, Illinois is now involved, and while this storm is still relatively weak, that's quickly going to change, because you see that 540 millibar contour line dip far enough south to interact with that warm, humid air that's located in the southeast, and that's going to create just enough lift to enhance the snow squalls, to enhance the snowfall rate of the snow squalls, to potentially create a major snowstorm throughout the Midwest, where you do see the low pressure does strengthen right around the Ohio River Valley, and we do see heavier snow squalls extending through Indianapolis, Detroit, and this will eventually extend to the northeast, especially in the interior northeast, like upstate New York. And you see that low pressure continue to strengthen as it moves further eastward, right around the day 4 mark, where we see that jet stream dip interacting with that warmer air along the Atlantic coast, and we see a large area of snow throughout the northeast overall. And you see that behind it, we're also going to see stronger northwesterly winds, so there might be a strong wind threat associated with this low pressure system we have to keep in mind, because this low pressure system won't be very weak at all. It's going to be quite formidable, actually, right around 990 millibars, which is quite strong for an April low pressure system, more in a time where we typically don't see that much unstable air to induce very strong low pressure systems, or nor'easter. So this is going to be quite a strong low pressure system that could induce a lot of northwesterly winds with it. So we need to keep close on that in the northeast. But you see the snow is extending all throughout the United States, and the European model is also in a very good agreement with the GFS model, where they're almost exactly the same in terms of the trajectory, the timing, and the strength of the low pressure system. And you really can't get more in agreement than that when it comes to the two computer models, because you see right around the 42-hour mark, the European model brings the low pressure right around southwestern Wyoming, with the snow swath extending through Wyoming. And if we take a look at the GFS model 42 hours from now, they're nearly at the exact same location and pretty much at have the exact same area of snow extending through Wyoming, which is quite amazing how much these two computer models are in agreement. And that really gives me high confidence that this will happen in this specific fashion, even extending further out into the forecast, where 72 hours from now, we do see a lot of snow throughout the Midwest. If we compare that, the two computer models 72 hours from now, you see that they're pretty much at the exact same location. So there's very high confidence with this forecast at this point, when both of the two main computer models are forecasting nearly the exact same thing. Even extending to day 4, they are very similar in terms of their forecast. So I'd say there's very high confidence with this one, even going around 4 days. Of course, there is that possibility that there could be some minuscule changes to the forecast, where the storm might move a little bit further north a couple miles than forecasted, or a little bit further south than forecasted. However, I think the snowfall forecast and the trajectory of the storm should be at least right around the ballpark, and I don't expect any, let's say, drastic changes to the north or to the south, or to the south. However, I also want to advise that even small changes in the forecast track or the trajectory in some areas can make a big difference, especially if right now you're right along the rain and snow line, such as in areas like, let's say, the Ohio Valley, where you're going to be very close to that rain snow line. Any shift in the forecast only several miles south or to the north could mean the difference between, let's say, 4 inches of snow or no snow at all. So if you're right along the rain snow line, you at least need to pay very close attention to your forecast and do not think it's going to be an all rain event just because of the current forecast, because like I said, any small shift in the forecast can mean a difference of no snow to 5 inches of snow. So you need to keep a close eye on that if you're along the rain snow line. However, for the most part, the trajectory and strength of the storm should be right around the ballpark of what the computer models are saying. And in terms of how the computer model is updated from their previous run from yesterday, they haven't changed that much, I'd say. The only difference I really noticed is that mainly the extreme northern portions of the Northeast will get impacted. In yesterday's model run, I think the GFS model and the European model were a little bit more lenient on bringing the snow further southward. However, now they're more lenient on bringing this storm further northward than initially anticipated. So as a result, it's pretty much guaranteed that the big cities such as Boston, New York City, Philadelphia will not receive any snow from this storm. So if we compare the previous loop from around 24 hours from now, Thursday's loop, you're gonna see that there isn't that the European model was forecasting a little bit more that snow to stay further northward. Well, I went a little bit too far back, but looking at Friday's run, you're going to see that the European model was a little bit more lenient on bringing that snowstorm further southward to where it impacted the southern portion of the Northeast. But that does seem to be the case at this point right now, where the European model is now bringing that snow further northward than expected. But other than that, it's pretty much the exact same from yesterday's model run. The snowfall forecast is exactly the same. If we were to take a look at that right now, for the Europeans' current forecast, again, the forecast is still subject to change, but for the most part, I'd say the snowfall forecast should be at least right around the ballpark when for a lot of the United States at this point. So I'd say throughout the Midwest and the Northeast, prepare now, because it's pretty much starting that you guys will experience a major snowstorm in these locations. And you see that for the snowfall forecast for a lot of the United States, you see that there's a pretty big area of 3 to 6 inches extending from Montana all the way to Maine. And we do see some areas where they could receive over 6 inches of snow right around Detroit. Northwestern Ohio needs to pay close attention to this. A lot of northern Indiana as well. And while Chicago is currently forecast to receive only around 1 to 3 inches, again, any small shift in forecast further northward can make a big difference and could mean that you could receive maybe up to 5 inches of snow from this in Chicago. So at least keep a close eye on this if you're right around Chicago. And then throughout the Midwest, throughout Kansas and Missouri, just north of St. Louis, you guys are experiencing right around 3-6 inches or so. So that's still certainly enough to cause some havoc on the roadway. So you need to keep a close eye on that. And you see that for the Northeast, this will mainly be an extremely interior Northeast threat, where mainly the extreme northern portion of the Northeast will experience all the snow from this. And we do see a large area throughout the interior Northeast around 3 to 6 inches, and even portions of over 6 inches of snow in Maine and extreme northern Vermont as well. And the GFS model is also agreeing with the European model with the forecasts, with the snow forecast, where they're pretty much identical. They look like twins at this point when it comes to the snowfall forecast. And you see that there's a large area of 6 to 12 inches throughout Ohio, just right around Indianapolis and right around Detroit's doorstep. They could receive over 6 inches of snow, and you see a large area of 3 to 6 inches of snow, up to 4 inches in some areas in Kansas. And you see throughout the higher elevations, you should expect over 6 inches of snow from this storm. And in terms of my forecast, based off of my experience with April snowstorms and what the two computer models are saying, really not much different from yesterday's forecast map, where we do see areas of 6 to 12 inches throughout Ohio, Indianapolis, and right around Detroit, 6 to 12 in the northern Adirondacks. And you see that we could see up to over 6 inches of snow in the higher elevations of the Rocky Mountains, and 3 to 6 inches just to the outside of the 6 to 12 inch category, where the snow squalls won't be as heavy, and 1 to 3 just outside that. So for a lot of the Midwest, this is going to be a major snowstorm, and this will impact a largely populated area like Indianapolis and Detroit, and Cleveland could get involved. Chicago, very populated sector of the Midwest, just north of Ohio River Valley. So this won't be this won't be an event that will be only exclusive to the higher elevations of, let's say, the West Coast or the Northeast. This will impact one of the most populated areas in the Midwest, where Chicago could get involved, Indianapolis, Detroit. So you guys need to pay close attention to this. I'd say prepare now, because this could be a major snowstorm for you guys. We may be in the month of April, but there's still certainly the chance of major snowfall throughout the Midwest. This even extends to St. Louis, Kansas, and Denver, Colorado. So you need to pay close attention to this all throughout the Northeast. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for this video. I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather content. And I hope you guys have a good day.